Am I the idiot for emotionally cheating on my fiancé? We've been together for 6 years, met in middle school and were friends, which then developed romantically. Over the past year, she's been going to therapy and has realized she has repressed a lot of trauma from her childhood. She's been going to therapy twice a week, but a few months ago she had a breakdown due to stress and her father still was abusing her. She was depressed and withdrawn for 2 months and it wore me down. She was laying on the sofa a lot, leaving mess around the house. She had to take time off work due to stress. Her back seized up and she is a mechanic so couldn't work, and her mood was very low. I tried to help a bit, but then withdrew from her too, and just played my video games or took myself outside or to the outhouse so I didn't have to be affected by her depression. At one point, her mood did make me depressed for a few days, but I built myself back up. She's come through her depression now and she's feeling better. But I feel this spell of depression has affected our relationship, and I'm worried about her ability to cope in the future as a mom to our future kids because of the way she acted a few months ago. In life, things do happen and you just have to get on with it. You can't just mope around. She would be a caring mom, but I do worry she will have a random attack of depression and be incapable of coping. She's also been going to therapy for a year now and processing her trauma, and while she's improving, there seems to be no end point in sight. Yes, her father was abusive and she's coping with that, but she's really living in the past and in what happened, and not focusing on our current life. She is in a better mood than before, but we're still not back to the point we were at before she started going to therapy. And I don't know if we will ever get to that point again. I feel I cannot support her through this therapy. She constantly wants to talk about her problems. I have problems of my own and I think she only wants to speak about her problems and vent to me about what she's going through. Since her depression, I've found myself attracted to one of my friends and I've been meeting her every day after work. I text her often and I've realized I have feelings for her. I haven't communicated this with my fiancé. She asked me if there was anything going on between my friend and I. She's suspicious that we are messaging a lot, and I reassured her that there's nothing going on. I don't want to hurt her. I haven't even told her I meet up with my friend every day. I have told her twice over the past year that she's talking too much about her problems. Otherwise, I just try to swallow it down and put up with it. I don't think she knows how much it affects me. We currently live together, but are moving to Texas in a few months to be closer to my family. I'm wondering if I should end this now, before we move. We had an incredible relationship for the first 5 years, but I can't carry on like this forever. Comment 1. What a waste of space. I recently did EMDR therapy for a year and a half, which was a fucking doozy. I would have good days, but also days where the session would end and I would lay on the couch in silence for the rest of the day. My fiancé was there for me through it all, even as my needs changed based on the severity of my feelings. He always met me where I was with grace and understanding. It's been about 6 months since my last session and I feel like a brand new person. No more panic attacks, lowered anxiety, no nightmares, relief from my depression. My fiancé struggles with his own mental health as well and unfortunately hasn't had the access to care that I have, but he never once made my feelings about him or told me I was depressing him. He helps me get through it and I help him get through it because we are partners and a team. I hope OP's fiancé leaves him and is able to continue healing. I hope OP dies alone. Comment 2. I dearly, truly hope that he ends it before he makes her move to Texas. What a self-absorbed, horrid little man. This woman is getting the help she clearly needs, and she definitely deserves more than this utter douchebag. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for not telling a woman her now fiancé cheated on her with me? I apologize in advance, I'm on mobile. This happened about a year ago. I was hanging out with some friends going out to bars and we met up with their good friend, someone I've never met. I was aware he had a girlfriend at the time, but I didn't know too much about the relationship and my friends didn't care for the girl. We met up with him and were drinking quite a bit, bar hopping and whatnot. Well, our little group ended up getting split up and he and I ended up alone together. He and I were talking and he told me he is in an open relationship, something that's common where I live. I didn't think anything of it and I wasn't feeling any kind of emotional/physical attachment to this person. I ended up getting ridiculously drunk and we ended up sleeping together. I didn't think it was a problem because he told me his relationship wasn't serious and it was open. We slept together a few more times throughout the night and a little more the next day. We were talking for a while, nothing serious going on. I wasn't into this person, it was basically just sex. He eventually told me he lied to me and wasn't in an open relationship, and his girlfriend was under the assumption that the relationship was more serious. I asked him why he slept with me and told me that, and he said because of the line of work he is in, he decided he wanted to live his life to the fullest and not have to hold back. He bragged about having sex with over 100 women, so I'm assuming this wasn't the first time he has cheated. He can always get away with it because he's always going on business trips. After all of that, we ended our sex fling and stopped talking. I saw him a few more months after that. We went for a drive, something that I went on with the intention of not doing anything because I wasn't about to fuck up his relationship more. He kissed me then, and I stopped everything there. I now find out he's engaged to his girlfriend, who knows nothing about this behavior he's into. I'm conflicted on what to do, because I've talked with friends about this and they're telling me it's not my business to tell her what he's done, it's his. But I also believe this girl deserves more than the man she's about to marry. She comes from a small town, she's from a good family and is so incredibly intelligent. Comment 1. She may be a stranger to her, but it's worth noting that it is kinda her problem. He cheated on her with the OP, so it's kinda her business. And honestly, it'll just making things easier for the girl to know now before it's too late. Comment 2. She knew he had a girlfriend but chose to believe him when he said he was in an open relationship, which is the most obvious lie ever told by someone about to cheat. I don't believe in going after the person not in the relationship because they're not obligated to remain faithful in a relationship they're not in, but OP has some sort of responsibility to tell the guy's fiancé what she knows since she did know he had a girlfriend from the beginning. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for wanting to live with my father over my mother despite his cheating? I 19F, grew up with a very one-sided family dynamic. I have a great relationship with my father and we have always gotten along with each other. He was way more present in my upbringing than my mother, and I overall just prefer being with him. He was always there for me and never prioritized his job over the family. My mother was more focused on her work than being a part of my life, and that has really drawn a wedge between us. I don't hate my mom, but I don't have nearly as close of a connection with her as I have with my father. Her work was always prioritized over my father and I. It felt like my parents weren't even married. My mother recently found out that my father has been having an affair with a coworker of his for the past 2 months. I had no idea about this, so this definitely came as a shock to me. They are getting a divorce and my mother is planning on moving out of our house soon. My mother told me that I should start packing my stuff so that we can move out as soon as she can sign a lease on an apartment. But TBH, I don't really want to move out with her and I'd much rather stay with my father. I know what he did was terrible, but I still wouldn't really feel at home or comfortable living alone with my mom. I know that if I live with my father he'll continue to support and take care of me like he has been doing, unlike my mother. When I told my mother that I wanted to live with my father, she had a mental breakdown. She started telling me that her father broke up our family and that he broke her, and that me choosing him over her is a massive betrayal from me towards her. My mother got really emotional and I felt bad about this all. Comment 1. I understand that Reddit has this thing where they say that if there was an affair that the cheater was undisputedly terrible, and the person who was cheated on was perfect and couldn't have possibly done anything wrong in their relationship. However, especially in a loveless marriage with children in the picture, often there is more nuance than that. My guess is that the mom hasn't shown sufficient love and affection to the dad for years, but the dad was waiting for OP to graduate before he divorced. The dad was trying to do the best as he could for his first priority, his child, whereas neither the mom nor dad were really doing right by each other in any notable fashion. Incidentally, I saw this as a person whose spouse cheated on me, and yet we came back from it, and I can say for a fact that we both were poor partners before, and now our marriage is better than it ever was. Life is never black and white. Comment 2. People on Reddit just act like it's the worst thing you could do in a relationship. I mean, besides things that are literally illegal to do to another person, is it not the worst thing you could do in a relationship? Seriously, what non-criminal offense would be worse? In any event, I follow the logic of putting the kid first by waiting for the kid to move out before filing for divorce, but I fail to see how having an affair accomplishes that. It inherently turns a possibly amicable divorce contentious, and that is always going to have a worse effect on a kid. If you decide you're done with your marriage but want to keep the family together for the kid, having an affair does not align with that goal. Either it's found out early, more likely than not, if it's not a one-time thing, and you failed to keep the family together anyway, or best case scenario, the spouse gets suspicious when the time to ask for divorce does come up, and while they never actually find out, and they may, the kid is stuck in the middle anyway, just like OP is now. OP is NTA, but unfortunately, either parent has treated them as their priority. Comment 3.
Yeah.
This specific subreddit suffers horribly from that mindset of not technically owing anyone anything.
Yeah.
No shit, but if everyone went around saying, "But I don't owe you that," all the time, no one would have friends or family or anything at all. It's am I the asshole, not am I technically or legally allowed to do this. OP's mom will always know they chose their cheater father over her. I don't get the vibes that she was fully neglectful, just liked her job. OP has yet to provide any examples or instances that their mother was completely absent from their lives. I understand she feels closer to her dad, but how does seeing him treat his wife with such disrespect not ruin her image of him in the slightest? How can you be supportive of someone who would be so cruel? OP can choose to try and salvage the relationship with their mother and possible make her understand how hurt she was from her choosing her career over more personal time together, and perhaps they can fix the relationship. It shouldn't be on the child's shoulders to bridge the gap, but the mother is definitely reeling in pain right now and probably isn't thinking straight. It's one of those horrible circumstances where you need to choose wisely or lose someone.